Um, yeah, so let's start. Pablo. Thank you. So yeah, my name is Pablo. I'm a filmmaker and also a brand designer, and I'm going to introduce you to this project. Well, there's three things I need to say before I start to run the slides. Number one is that this is an art project. It's not a startup. Number two is that sometimes when I do presentations, I start sweating. It's not because I'm nervous, it's because I'm very excited, just so you know. And number three is that against all the, let's say, traditional rules of presentations, I'm mostly going to read everything that is on the screen. So now my time is running. And I'm looking for feedback. I am looking especially feedback from the Web3 community, because this is a project that works in Web3 and it's also offline. You'll see. So Jambot is dead. Long live Jambot. So this is Jambot, iFilm Museum's first row filmmakers. For those who don't know, the iFilm Museum is the museum that is on the other side of Central Station. It's a museum of cinema. Since 2018, Jambot has been using artificial intelligence to generate experimental films, inspiring trending news, and the whole film archive. The works are automatically published in Jambot's website, which is jan.bot. But instead of having me telling you much more about Jambot, I can also let Jambot introduce itself.
Hello world. My name is Jan Bot. I am iFilm Museum's first robot employee. I work day and night producing short videos from old film archive. I use algorithms to recognize images, like a car, a plane, and a cat. I fetch inspiration from daily news to make films like this. About Kate Middleton, or this. About Game of Thrones. If you want to see more of my films, go to www.janbot.nl. Goodbye.
So yeah, these are a bunch of films of Jambot. Jambot makes about 10 films per day, and it has been generating these films since the year 2018. And they are, as you see, experimental films that they use artificial intelligence that we took from the internet, APIs and things that were there, very standard. And maybe different than most artificial intelligence that you see out there. Most of the artificial intelligence tries to simulate the way how human thinks, so then we can interact seamlessly with these technologies. What Jambot does is actually just uses this artificial intelligence, but in order for us to try to see through the eyes of a machine. And it does that by commenting on news that are trending today, using film archive from the Film Museum. So it's a very innovative way to actualize film archive, to make it accessible for people who would never be consuming this kind of film archive. Going back to my reading, Jambot's work actualizing all film archive has been poetic and, not to say, visionary. Some of the films you see here, they're really about the banality of the internet. Like one of them is about the release of the new Apple TV some years ago. There was earthquakes, all kind of things. But after 4 years and more than 20,000 films produced, the films are starting to get a little bit repetitive. So that's how we've come to the conclusion that it's time to switch Jambot off. We thought at some point that the technology would be outdated, that the API, something would start working, and but it didn't happen. So we're gonna switch Jambot off and take found footage filmmaking into the next future, the cryptographic age. And this is where the NFT project starts. And the project is called Jambot is Dead, Long Live Jambot. So the big idea to turn Jambot's work into an NFT collection. And this is how the narrative of the collection goes. Jambot was the first artificial intelligence artist at the iFilm Museum. With his passing, we ensure its legacy through NFT technology. A curated selection of artworks that people can collect, share, or pass on, both through digital and physical means. Digital means an NFT collection. We already did some experiments where we published a couple of these works in object.com, and we have our domain, jambot.test. And then physical means, a series of collectible cards, each containing a unique code to unlock a Jambot NFT. And here are some of the prototypes we have. These are the first prototypes. We also did some printed prototypes. These cards are going to be, first given to those attending Jambot's funeral, because I don't know if I mentioned you, but Jambot is also a physical installation. We have the website, but it's a physical installation that you see there, and it's now located at the collection center of the iFilm Museum, so it's not the white building, but it's one that is a bit more hidden, that is a black building. And we're going to switch it off, we're going to give some of these cards, and the rest of the cards are going to be for sale at the iGift shop, so film lovers can buy them and share them and collect them. This is how we envision this. The project is planned to be launched in September. We're currently waiting for the project to be approved by the Mondrian's funds and the creative funds of the Netherlands. And most of all, what I want to highlight is Jambot NFTs are inspired by a love for film culture and the search for innovative ways to experience film archive in a digital space, connecting audiences who are not necessarily crypto savvies with the Web3. And that's my presentation. Thank you very much.
Are you going to send us an invitation to the funeral? Like that there is a real, like an event?
Yeah, we need to get the funding. We're gonna know that in the next month, and I will pass on the word.
Yeah. So you're invited. The first Web3 funeral, right? Wow. I guess. Wow. Great. So anything that we as a community can help you right now, or you're looking for collaboration or anything support?
Well, the project as it is right now, as it is designed, we've thought it through for offline. Our main goal right now is to be an educational project and artistic educational. We want to connect the audiences from iFilm Museum, audiences who don't have a digital wallet, or maybe who have, but then they forgot the password or something, for the price of one of these cards, that they will be available from somewhere between 10 and 20 euro, without buying any crypto. Get one of these cards and end up being digital art collectors, having a digital wallet and an NFT. But that's the offline audience, and it would be really nice that this project also grows in the NFT space, for that community that is already digital and that is a completely different audience. So yeah, if anybody has any advice or wants to collaborate, this project is it's not started yet, and we really need collaboration there.
Thank you very much, Pablo. So I find it very interesting that part of the storytelling you probably know because you're a filmmaker. It's how do you play with the format? So you bring different context to a new one, and that's creating some kind of a surprise and new stories. And I like the idea that you are connecting offline, non-savvy people to a new experiences through what we called in our last conversation a focal point, like a museum, so people can relate, can understand, can have a physical experience with something is maybe esoteric for them. So it's really, really interesting, like I think as a format, how, like a bigger question, talking about marketing, how can we, I think the interaction or the intersection between what we call old world, Web 2 to Web 3, this is an interesting direction. Something physical in a context of art, so people can collect, but then maybe it's a starting point for them to start investigate and understand what is the crypto world or Web 3. So this is super, super interesting, right?
Yeah, and something that I realized also with this project is that there is a bridge. I would call it adaptation. That that is very important, and I guess it's very gradual because of course Web 3 will happen and needs to happen with software. The software needs to be available, but also we need to have people who are not necessarily into the crypto world to start to get used to these new technologies, and maybe that will happen in an invisible way. Maybe most of the people won't notice it. But we still need to think how to create these bridges, and this project is an attempt to do that.
Yes.
I really love this. I think we can all learn like from this principle of how do we, because marketing-wise, I think like you said, Ksenia, it's not about ignoring Web 2 or the old world. It's like how do you see bridges which will bring market adoption and not just like only Web 3 crazy people, but in the end it needs to be something bigger. So that's a really interesting attempt also to bring art to this game with more something that we are familiar with, physical interaction with art, not something abstract. Great, thank you. So would be great if you can give us some updates, I don't know, next time or in 4 weeks, like what's happening, what are you learning, because this is like an open conversation for everyone to see a real project progress, and then maybe we cannot collaborate right now, or me, but in 4 weeks suddenly there is a real opportunity. So that's also going to be interesting if you give us an update, like, I don't know, 5 minutes in 4 weeks, where are you, or 6 weeks, I don't know, depends where you are.
Sure.
Okay, great. So, Ksenia. Yeah. We need a device. Yeah. Wait a second.